Oh yeah. Well, you can only do so much, right?
For sure. I trust me, I completely get it, man.
I'm sorry. What
Completely
happened?
get it.
I'm in nesting mode.
She's in nursery mode. I think is what she said.
Nesting mode, darling.
Oh, okay. Well,
Nesting.
I can't hear you from the
Through
other
the wall.
side of the wall.
Yeah.
And
Oh, this is Andrew. By the way, Tessa, Andrew, Tessa, my fiance.
hi,
Andrew.
very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Congratulations on the newborn, the kid, new arrival.
Oh, thank you. We're excited for her.
Yes, that's awesome. I have a 7-month-old, so not too long ago, my wife was also nesting.
Yes, you completely understand.
Yes. Have you started like cleaning obscure things like the top of like the refrigerator or
Yep. Yep.
or just things that should not be, like, no one ever cleans?
Yep. Sure have.
Awesome. You're full blown nesting mode.
Yep. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you. You guys have a good podcast. I'm going to go back to
Thank
my
you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right. Well, yeah, that would be a nice little opener, little thing before the episode hits, I think. Anyways. All right. Do you need to go get a drink or anything, Andrew, before we start? Need a glass of water, soda, beer, wine, anything?
Yeah, let me, well, since you said beer, I'll go grab a beer. Might as well, right? Give me 1 second. Let me grab one.
Oh, yeah, man. What's going on, everybody? My name is Paul Doski, and we are in the house of sins. And what I mean by that is the unholiness of holiness, of where it takes place of, well, you just don't want to trust anybody. What can you trust? Can you even trust yourself? Can you even trust the baby? Can you even trust the walls that are around you? Can you even trust your own voices and thoughts in your head? Well, we're going to find that out with the man behind the graphic novel, who also was funding it on Kickstarter and managed to reach its goal. And this is none other than the creator and writer, Andrew Guilde. Andrew, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much, Paul, for having me. I'm, excited to be here, excited to talk shop with you.
Of course. It's a little honor to have you on as well, because, I think somebody like you should have more coverage, I would say, because if it wasn't for people blowing up my damn emails of Kickstarter back when your campaign was going on, I probably would have missed out on a very interesting story that you had written. How old is this now for Man of Sin?
Well, we just finished the story this year, actually. So the artist Camilo just finished. But we started Man of Sin back in 2015. So it's been 5 years. Me and artist Camilo Ponce have been working on this. And I just want to say, before we go any further, all those people that were blowing your Kickstarter inbox up, I want to thank them personally. So whoever was bothering you, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, yeah. I bet they're going to say you're welcome. So, like I said, but you know what drew my attention, like I was saying in the review of mine, is the artwork itself, that watercolor feel and everything else that was going on that you were showing as preview, sampled, whatever you want to call it. And it grabbed my attention to the fact where I was just like, well, I got to know what this is. So I got to back it. Basically,
Well,
what?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Camilo is a absolutely incredible artist. I feel just incredibly honored and lucky to be able to work with him, and work with him for so long. Our relationship way back in 2015, it was very much, I was looking for an artist, and he happened to like my story and wanted to come on board. And within these last 5 years, we really have become, pretty good friends, and, just great, collaborators. And what he does with his art, with his watercolors, he pencils, inks, and hand paints with watercolors every page by hand. So it's like an incredible long process for each page he had done. And the fact that he did 92 pages is incredible.
And he is from Spain, correct?
No, he's actually from Chile.
Oh, Chile.
Yeah, he's from Chile. So we've actually never met. We've only just messaged each other and back and forth through, different online, tools, email, Facebook Messenger, things like that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's incredible, because like when you did that one Kickstarter update to say, hey, if you want to also keep up to date with what's going on with Man of Sin, is to just basically watch his Instagram. And you weren't lying, because geez, like everything he posts is just wow. Like that guy has amazing talent for sure.
I've said this in a few other places, and I'll just reiterate it here. I really hope, someone picks up Man of Sin for the artwork, for the story. But I really hope someone picks up Man of Sin and Camilo gets a shot at some of the bigger companies, because he does like outstanding work. Like, I had no idea how he's now working for Marvel or DC or any of those guys, because I would put his art up against anyone's.
There's always that one day where he'll get that phone call or email or whatever it is. So there's always that chance. So, or maybe, go ahead.
I hope so. I hope so, because he's incredibly talented. I got nothing but great things to say about that guy. He's great.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, or what he could just do is like what most people used to do, from what I hear, is they just kept sending DC and Marvel and them like their work until they responded back. So you never know.
Yeah. You know what? We've never had this conversation. I don't even think he cares to like work for them. Like, I think he just likes doing his own stuff, to be honest. Because I'd be, I might have to ask him, has he ever sent his stuff in? But we've never had that conversation. But everyone, whenever I've been at a convention or I've talked to people are like, holy crap, this artwork is just next level, crazy stuff. And I'm just super lucky to be able to work with him, been able to collaborate with Camilo. He really makes. He makes the story. He really understood the story, understood what I was trying to do. Just everything from the tone of what we were looking for, to the feel, to the look, like everything. He elevates the words on the page to a point I could have never dreamed of. I'm just gushing over this guy. I feel super lucky.
Oh, I will back that up for that. Like, one of the things that I noticed too when I was reading Man of Sin was, what would be the best way to describe it? Like, it was like the story itself between your writing and his artwork were pulling me in so much that I did not want to stop at all. I wanted to read all 90 pages within like one sitting, which I did. But that's why, like, after we were talking about interviews and stuff, like, like while I was even trying to write the review, I was actually talking to you mostly because I wanted to get every type of link possible I could get from you, and that was even before I even started writing up, doing the write up, I should say. But yeah, I mean, it was basically like my brain was still processing all 90 pages because of the artwork and the story to make sure that, well, if I was gonna write this in a way like I have been with Tradeback now, but without giving too much away, even though I hope I didn't anyway, but it was just more like, what the hell did I just read, and how do I process it? And then I definitely have to go back again to reread it just to make it all either make sense again or really appreciate each page more, and with like the artwork or whatever, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I thank you so much for those, for those kind words. I'm one thing we really tried to do was really draw people in emotionally, because this is a very emotional story. It's a much different kind of horror story than I think you would read in traditional comics. One of the first conversations we had, me and Camilo, was, how are we going to scare people, right? We wanted a horror comic. How are we going to scare people? And there's nothing that Camilo can draw that is going to scare someone. It might make them feel uneasy or like disgusted, but not true scares, right? And you've done movies, right? Most of the jump scares in movies comes from sound, from non-diegetic sound, right? That sound, when the jump scare happens, the audience hears that big loud boom or something, and you jump, right? That's where kind of the scares come from. So we decided that what we're going to do is, because the story in and of itself, how it operates, is really psychological and emotional, we need to make artwork, not only the visuals on the page, but the color and the tone on the page to match what we want the reader to feel. And we might not be able to scare you, but we might be able to get under your skin and make it very sticky and make you feel uncomfortable. And I think, hopefully we were able to accomplish that.
I think you did not just accomplish that, but I think you took some of the scenes and definitely intensified them by like 10, I would say, at least, depending on what the scene was. Like, the good example is, I believe, is like the samples that you gave from your campaign, where we see the main protagonist in a hospital from, it seems like, getting attacked by a nurse with the old man, and then you just kind of see like that whole dialogue there of being attacked by a nurse, and it's just like, what the hell? Like, why was he just attacked by a nurse, etc., etc. So, but then as you read on, there's more going on than what is being mentioned at first, because it's, if I remember right, that was still near the beginning to really open up the dark world of the darkness surrounding your main character.
Correct. Yeah, he was still kind of, kind of entering, the story at that point. He was just kind of, if we're talking screenwriting terms, it was, if we're just getting in the beginning of the second act, it was right after, the inciting incident, if you will, where, Damien, our main character, makes a choice that he wants to live and he wants to figure out, the truth behind his dead son, and in doing so, kind of kickstarts all these events going on, because no one wants him to find out, because if he finds out, bad things happen. and without me spoiling it for anyone.
Right, exactly. Which why I'm really being cautious of where I'm stepping on to right now, because I don't want to say too much either. So that way I have to go back and edit this even more. So if I do say something, by the way, that I'm not supposed to, or if you feel like it's a spoiler, let me know and it will be gone. So or if you accidentally say something that you feel like is too much information, let me know and it'll be gone for sure. So this next question real quick, Andrew, because I want to go back for a moment and get to know you a little better. So give us a little background story of yourself, of basically what got you into horror to begin with, which made you get inspired enough to want to even write your own comic.
Oh man, this could be really long-winded, so I will try to keep it as short and concise as possible. But really, what got me into horror was my mother. Horror is probably my mother's favorite genre, which in turn kind of has made it mine. I remember watching as a kid, like watching Tales from the Crypt, the TV show with my mom, and I would be terrified. Like, do you remember that show, Tales from the Crypt, with the Crypt Keeper?
Oh yeah, I remember that show. I also remember Tales from the Dark Side as well.
Yep, we watched Tales from the Dark Side, Night Gallery, Twilight Zone, all that stuff. And Tales from the Crypt, one of my first kind of memories with horror is from Tales from the Crypt, and it was because the intro, they would bring you into this real creepy mansion, and they'd take you downstairs, and then the Crypt Keeper would pop up, and he would like laugh, like ha 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 ha, whatever, and that laugh terrified me. So I'd watch all the way up until the camera started panning down those long stairs, and then I'd run into another room and cover my ears because it scared me so much. But then what was so weird is that would scare me, but I'd watch the episode with my mom. I was, maybe 6 at the time, 5, I don't remember. And I'd watch the whole episode with my mom, and I would ask her questions, and she was very upfront about, like, kind of what was going on, like, never tried to, hide anything, and I knew it was, make-believe and pretend, but I was always into that. So the horror thing came from my mom. Where Man of Sin came from, the first seeds of it came from, I think it was in 2005 or 4. I was still in college at the time, and I remember watching like one of those cheesy History Channel like documentaries about like the Antichrist. Do you remember they like used to have those, like the end of the world or like those weird like ancient alien History Channel documentaries with this
stuff, like the documentary.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But it was on, like, History Channel did a bunch of those. But this one was on the Antichrist, and there was a bunch of like theology scholars and a bunch of like different historians and all this stuff, and they're talking about the Antichrist and what the Antichrist looked like in like different religious writings and what that would look like in the real world. And I just remember watching it, and they were all talking about this guy would be like a 35-year-old white guy who is into politics or business, and everyone loves him, and his whole goal would be to get everyone on his side, and that he will destroy the world. And I'd never bought that concept, because, and the reason why I didn't buy the concept was I was raised Roman Catholic, and I had to go to CCD, which is like religious school, like during the week to learn about the Bible and your faith or whatnot. And the story of Jesus was he was born of a virgin, but then like as a kid, like he had like a regular normal life. They don't talk about it, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you're the Messiah or whatever when he's older. Right, so he had to go through a regular, normal life, and he didn't know until he was told later on in life. And I thought that would probably be, if there was an Antichrist, the inverse of him, right? The other side of the coin, that would be very similar, right? It would be, this normal guy who goes through life and then finds out that he's the Antichrist. What's interesting is I played with that duality of what would the inverse of Jesus be, right? So not too spoilerly in this. We talked about it a little bit, but Jesus had to kill himself to save the world. So I thought the inverse of that would be someone would have to stay alive to destroy the world, and that's kind of where everything kind of kicks off with our main character with the inciting incident. Why him choosing to find his son, and why the whole son thing happens to begin with. Why that kind of happened, right? He's choosing to live, and in so choosing to live, he destroys the world, or will destroy the world. And so I kind of took that nugget of an idea and played with it. But like most stories, they're just ideas. I was playing around with it. What really kind of crystallized these ideas and gave me stuff to work with was I had two kind of family tragedies that happened back to back with like a 6-month period. My grandfather died, and then like 6 months later, maybe not even 6 months later, 5 months later, it was a short period of time, my stepfather died of cancer in the same year. And so what I saw and what I was going through and my family was going through was a lot of grieving with tragedy and loss and death. And what I realized, what Man of Sin was really about, the Antichrist and the Armageddon and death and destroying the world, that's nice window dressing. But what it's really about is how we handle loss and tragedy. And so once I figured out that Man of Sin is really about how we get through tragedy and how we get through a loss in life, that's when I was able to start really writing Man of Sin, and that's when the story took off.
Wow. That's, there's really no word to how true that statement really is when it comes to, like, when it starts coming down to real people that is in your life that just start to, for lack of a better word in here, like drop out of your out of your family tree per se, because you're going through this hellstorm, as I'm gonna put it, is it really does test your limits as a person, your ability mentally and physically. And I was gonna say that sounds like the perfect recipe for an inspirational piece as well as you were talking, but I didn't want to say anything quite yet. But it's really fascinating too when we can take our personal events and sort of help be that push toward something creative. And once it's all said and done, you look back and it's just like, well, this may be a dark story, but it's also one of those things where it's just like, it's very personal. It's definitely something where, like you and I were talking about it, like if you were going to write it today, you don't think you could, sort of thing.
No, I couldn't write it today for a couple of reasons. Number one is that while I was going through kind of that family loss, writing Man of Sin helped me through it as sort of catharsis. So I'm past it already. And so me writing it today would look much different because of that. And two is that I have a daughter now. And so when I was writing it from a different place. And I don't know if I could put myself in that place that I had to go with a daughter. Because there's a lot of family, a lot of family stuff, a lot of parental stuff that's going on in there.
Well, let's put it this way,
So
if I may, Andrew, not to interrupt you, but I think I know exactly what you're trying to say is you don't know if you could access that dark place anymore because, one, you're trying to be that father figure. You have a family now. You need we'll say, healthy mindset for sure because, you need to be there for your family. And then if you were to start having your whole body and mind break, it's almost like here comes Man of Sin again, but it's like your story, but told not as an antichrist.
yeah, it's I and I think you for sure hit it on the head, right? Like I don't want to put myself in that place, and also I'm having a kid of my own now, right?
Right.
Makes that story so much more real. I think you put it in your review. This is a father's like worst nightmare, and just that alone, like me, like so I had to when if I were like even me like rereading it, like I wrote it, like me getting to some of those pages, it's hard to get through having a kid. Like it's really hard.
Oh yeah.
And I wrote it.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's you know, um, it's so yeah. I don't know if I don't know if I could have I don't know if I could have wrote the same thing today. I think I could probably hit on the same themes. I could have done something very similar, but it would have the overall product would have been different.
Yeah, I mean, it could really just fall into anybody, but I just know between you and I talking because you're already a father, I'm going to be becoming a father. Like, these are definitely is why I chose to say, yes, this is like a father's worst nightmare because of how emotionally disturbing it is of what your main protagonist went through. Oliver, right? I'm pretty sure that was his name. Yeah, but Oliver, I think it's somebody else. Hang on. Oh God, here we go. Am I getting two people's names mixed up already?
Damien.
Damien. Yeah, Damien. Damien. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I'm thinking of the other one. God damn it. All right. Well, yeah, Damien. Here we go already. I'm gonna edit that goddamn part out. Anyway, yeah, Damien. So I don't know. I mean that it's goosebumps galore, really. And it could and the sad thing is it could happen to anybody. And even if somebody were to read it now who is like I'll just say it for future listeners that when my daughter's already born, it will fall into the category of since we are both fathers, it is stuff like this when it involves a kid makes it 10 times worse to watch or read now if something happened to a kid in a movie or even a book. Like I've seen some really weird movies and stuff where probably back in the day, with my dark days, I would say myself, is kid or not, whatever. I mean, we all gotta go some point, but it wasn't like emotional. Like, there wasn't really a true connection there where I could be like, yeah, this isn't really doing it for me. I'm not really fully invested in this kid, even though I do feel bad, but it's not physically, emotionally hitting me. It's not washing over in waves. But now, like, you know, because of it, and I'm not trying to bring it up to scare you or anything, but I bet you thought of it too, man. And just because I'm thinking of it too is like, and I know Tessa is, and it's a scary thing. It's like when with the current situation with the world is now, it's a very scary one, and we want to do everything us dads can do to protect our family, protect our kid from the situation. We want to make sure we can be their guardian angel, if you want to look at it like that. We want to really look up to it. Or
for sure. I mean, as a father, you kind of have, I'm speaking for myself here, but I assume it's a universal thing for most fathers. You kind of have this, this, paternal need to protect and provide for your family. And, even though I didn't have a kid when I originally wrote that's kind of Damien, our main character's big kind of, big need and want, right, is that he wasn't able to protect his kid. And so now he's doing everything in his power to kind of make that right. And then by doing so, trying to make it right, he's, making worse things happen, if you will.
Yep. Yeah. It. I don't even know how much more I can even say anything about this without saying oh my God, this is just wow. So let's get this question out of the way then. So you had your Kickstarter with a month, I think it was. God, chills still just from remembering some of the scenes in that thing. But anyway, it's very interesting because you started a Kickstarter. Oh God, I don't have the thing up right now, but you did have your first Kickstarter, which was for issue 1, I believe, of Man of Sin, and then you just did the graphic novel where it was, I think, it was supposed to be all 4 issues in one. Did you just want to get all of them out of the way into one book and not do individual issues, or did you have all individual issues? Because I'm not quite sure, because I was asking you, and I don't know if you have the link up now as we're speaking or later on, and so that way the listeners know too. But so what would let's see, what was the time frame between the first Kickstarter, between that was the issue 1 to the graphic novel, which I believe it was your second or third one that you created?
Yeah, that was my second Kickstarter. I could,
okay.
I'll just kind of walk you through the whole Man of Sin kind of, production story, because that's really convoluted and interesting. For any listener out there who wants to do anything creative, it's not, your creative career and your creative path is very seldomly going to be linear. And what I mean by that is just from point A to point B. There's going to be a lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of setbacks, a lot of, things that you're going to celebrate for. And, the Man of Sin story is just the production story itself is, pretty interesting. So I wrote this story, the first issue, this back in 2015, like I said, when I first started it, and Camilo drew the entire first issue, and we were shopping it around to a bunch of publishers, a couple lukewarm responses for some publishers, but some publishers are the main thing I got from most publishers, and I later learned this was actually more than what most people get, was that editors would email me back or contact me back love your comic, it's just not for us, we're not touching it, right? And I was like, what the heck, right? And then finally Top Shelf's editor came back and sent me an email. I was like, hey, love the artwork, this is just not for Top Shelf. He was, why don't you take this to Kickstarter? And at the time I had no idea what Kickstarter was, and so I went online, I looked at what Kickstarter was, I saw a bunch of comic stuff, I started doing research, started listening to podcasts, started doing my homework, and I ended up self-publishing the first issue, which was in 2016, I believe. And that was for the print version of issue 1, and then a lot of people got the digital version of issue 2 because Camilo was working on issue 2 at that point. And so as that was going on, I got approached by a literary manager from Hollywood for me to sign on with his literary agency to work and develop things for him, right, to sell to the market. And so I signed on the dotted line back in 2016, maybe 2017 at this point. And so I developed like a Man of Sin like TV series. He really wanted a TV series for Man of Sin, so I worked developing that. I worked on developing some other stories for that, and really in 2 years, nothing really came of our relationship. We really never got anything off the ground. It was one of those things where it just, nothing really materialized. And then in 2017, kind of later in that year, a small publisher by the name of Insane Comics, which was out of Illinois, where I'm from, they wanted to publish Man of Sin. And so they republished Man of Sin issue 1 and in 2018, I believe either January or February. And then the next month after that, so February or March, it had to have been January, February. February, they released issue 2 to the direct market, because in March, I believe I was at B2E2, which is the Comic-Con in Chicago. And we were on a little hiatus because in between that time when I was with that literary manager, Camilo stopped working on Man of Sin, and he picked up some other side projects, so he was finishing those up. So he was going to start production on the final 2 issues kind of later in 2018, probably like summer. Unfortunately, like I want to say June or July, Insane Comics, just as we were getting going, closed their doors. And so we weren't able to finish the series. And I was, me and Camilo were devastated, and we talked about what we wanted to do, and we were just going to kind of like leave it as that. Like, all right, maybe we won't come back to it. But so many fans were contacting us about finishing the series that I just was like, hey, do you want to, go to Kickstarter one more time, see if we could fund the graphic novel, since we already have 2 full issues. Do you want to just finish the series and get it out? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So in 2019, I believe it was the end of May in 2019, we launched a successful Kickstarter. Our fans came back. We're really thankful for them. Hopefully we got some new fans. And, we just now finished the graphic novel, because it took him a little bit longer, because he really kind of put his heart and soul into these last kind of, 60 pages or so. But yeah, that's kind of, and now we're publishing the graphic novel through Kickstarter. So yeah, that's kind of the very long-winded Man of Sin production journey.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't call it long. I would say very full of informative info, to the point where it's always cool to hear somebody's experience of having their creation brought to production and actually finish up. And I'm glad that we were able to see the end of Man of Sin, because we don't need any more bad TV show endings either, and this could have been a really bad one too. But no, with the way Man of Sin ends, I think would satisfy a lot of people. And that's why, like, even with my review, the way I kind of ended my review, I thought I had to do it, and I had to do it in the way that I did it, without going into saying too much at all, because I was just like, God, if I could almost practically just write out the whole book right now, and I don't want to. I want people to definitely check this out, just because emotional roller coaster of a story. The artwork alone is just worth it after every page, and then it's just like I want to know what's next for Andrew, and that's my next question, Andrew, is what do you got going on for us in the future? I know with this current situation, but what do you want to do?
I am actually working on another series. It is I don't even know how to describe it. I'm definitely putting out another comic book. I come to realize I'm not one of those writers that can just pump out 10 or 15 or tons of content. I really need to sink my teeth into something. And so once Man of Sin wrapped up, kind of in May, I've just been, juggling some ideas. I had my daughter in September, and, with that, it's, now having a daughter, I kind of want to explore some of these, parenthood themes, right? Whereas, I'm going to stick in the horror genre, and I think, I have the first issue of another series already written, and I'm working through some of the other issues. I'm talking to artists right now, but basically what this next project is, it's a Lovecraftian kind of horror story where it's a mother that has to go back home, and when she goes back home, she realizes that kind of her family, they're kind of harbingers of kind of the ancient ones, kind of trying to figure that out, what that means for her. So it's kind of, me exploring kind of what I'm bringing to my child from my past, what my wife is, how we have to deal with that and reconcile that. But, all the bad stuff in the past happens to be Lovecraftian monsters, if you will. So that's kind of my next project I'm kind of working on.
Well, I must say I'm already sold on this idea already because I'm a great fan of H.P. Lovecraft. So,
oh yeah,
and it sounds like you got a pretty good outline of what you want to do, and hopefully that we can see that after all this bull crap is done with, because it would be great to go back to normal and stuff. And one of the questions too I wanted to ask about Man of Sin too, but I was curious to know if you have thought of anything new. So clearly you have, so that's good. And that is, so for people that were not able to do like the Kickstarter and stuff, how can people get a hold of any digital print copies of Man of Sin right now?
So right now the Man of Sin is at the printer, so we don't have any physical print copies. But if anyone wants a free digital copy of the first issue, they can just go to my website, Guilde, that's AGUILDE.com, and just sign up for our newsletter. You just put your email in there, send it to me, and then I'll send you the first issue. If you want the entire digital copy, or you want to kind of reserve a physical copy, you could just shoot me an email right now. That's aguilde@gmail.com, and I could put your name down on a list, and I could put you down for either a digital copy, which I could send you right away, of the full graphic novel, or once we get everything from the printer, I could send you the graphic novel, the physical version.
And then don't forget to send Andrew a little bit of your blood so he can make sure it's signed in blood as well when you waiver it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We have plans. I've already uploaded it to Comixology, the digital version, but we are waiting to hear back from them. I believe the Comixology submit takes, a couple weeks or so. So hopefully,
it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, hopefully that goes up on the Comixology and then once I get the physical versions of the comic book, I'll be putting them up on both Amazon and my website to purchase. But until I actually get them, there's nowhere to buy them. So if you'd like to pre-order a copy, feel free to email me. Again, my email is aguilde, so AGUILDE @gmail.com. Then I'll be sure to get you a copy. Yeah, and the blood.
All right, good. Now, Andrew, just to kind of also wrap things up and just to have fun with this now, because we were just talking about a serious little matter here, because, Man of Sin has a lot of, like I said, emotions, and it's definitely a great big goddamn roller coaster. And so my what I'd like to do for the next maybe 10 or so minutes, because I don't want to take too much more of your time as well, is what films have you been watching in your lockdown here? Or in general, what are your recommended 10 horror movies of all time?
Oh, well, those are two different questions. So I'll answer them kind of in order. So what am I watching in lockdown? Well, I'm watching whatever my wife puts on TV, which is usually not horror. She's not a big horror fan. But when I am left to my own devices, I actually just watched for the first time A Cabin in the Woods last night. So I just watched that. I watched Parasite not too long ago. But those were the two most recent films, I want to say. I've watched my top 10 horror films, man. Let's see. I'm going to kind of just give you 10 in no order.
Okay.
I'll give you 10 with no order. I'll go Hereditary, which is a new one I really enjoyed. I will say Raw, which is a French film. You can find it on Netflix. Very, very good. Horror films. No, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank now. What else did I really like?
Because it's a really tough question now, because it's just like, well, what one do I really like?
Yeah, I got two I can name right off the top of my head. I would say the original Night of the Living Dead, the black and white one. I will say, what else?
Is there a movie that you watch like every year? Like it's got to be a ritual. Like you have like one of those type of films where you got to watch it every year.
Not a horror film. I do enjoy Pulp Fiction a lot, and I do enjoy There Will Be Blood. Both of those are probably two films I watch over and over again. I think Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood is just amazing, and Pulp Fiction is obviously a classic.
No question about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, top 10 horror movies. Like, I want to see the classics, but I feel like that's, like, really derivative. Like, I want to say, like, Nightmare on Elm Street and, all those films. But, like The Puppet Master, I really like The Puppet Master. Like, I remember watching it with my mom, so I have to put The Puppet Master in there. So what is that? That's 3. Then I got, I'll say, what else do I really like? I like The Puppet Master. The Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, that holds a special place in my heart. That holds a special place in my heart. What else we got going on here?
About Tales from the Dark Side movie.
Which one?
Tales from the Dark Side, the movie?
I don't think I've seen that one.
What? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I don't think
oh.
No, I'm going to have to watch it, yeah.
Well, before you continue, Andrew, I gotta say real quick, and I'm not saying it because I'm being sponsored by saying this, but I might as well just throw it out now. But for anybody that does not know, everybody should know that every now and then Shout Factory or Scream Factory, whatever the hell they call themselves every now and then, they are going to be releasing the Tales from the Dark Side, the movie collector's edition, coming in June. And pre-orders are up for that Blu-ray collector for Tales from the Dark Side right now. So there you go, Andrew. Perfect excuse to watch it.
I'm gonna have to watch it now. Yeah. Tales from the Dark Side. Yeah, I didn't know they had a movie. When was it released? Was it in the 80s? Early 90s? I don't know.
Yeah, 80s, 90s. Yeah, I'd have to pull it up to tell you, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's probably where they were.
Now,
They're going.
yeah, now real quick, this is just out of my own personal taste because I know you're having trouble, but if you can't think of any more, don't worry about it. But like besides Puppet Master, which I love the Puppet Master too, but another one that I like too has to be Dead Silence. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen that one. Dead Silence.
Holy crap! Holy crap! So it looked like it was 1990 was the movie for the Tales from the Dark Side. So there you go.
Okay.
Yep.
That's right. About late 80s, early 90s. I was in the ballpark.
Yep. Yeah, but okay. Well, Dead Silence is another one that you need to check out too.
Dead Silence for sure. Yeah, now like I'm thinking of all these movies like that I watched. Like obviously, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a classic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The original one. I'm just like thinking of all the movies that I've seen, horror movies, and like Alien, the original one. That's got to be up there.
Yep.
And this, I feel like everything that I say is, I don't want it to be too derivative. Like I want to throw some gems in there that get the horror fans like, oh yeah, that's a good one, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
That's fine. But
I will say
another question that I wanted.
Oh, I'm sorry, but have you seen Raw?
What one?
Raw, R-A-W. It's a French film.
I'm gonna have to look that up, but I'm just gonna say no for right now. So, what is Raw?
It is it is about a young girl who goes to veterinary school in France. In doing so, she kind of discovers some things about herself, and it's a movie unlike any kind of horror movie I've ever seen. It's really done in a really unique way. I don't want to give too much away. It's not a vampire movie. It's something else, and that's the best way I could describe it. It has like vampire movie kind of like vibes to it, but it's definitely vampire adjacent. It's not a vampire movie. It's a vampire adjacent. And if I tell you what it is, it'll ruin the movie, so I can't. But yeah, that's a good one. You know what's another good one I really, really enjoyed was It Follows. Kind of like the new way before movies. It Follows was a good one too.
Oh, I liked It Follows. A lot of people didn't.
Yeah,
they think it was cheesy, but I didn't mind it.
No, I liked, what I liked about it, there was a lot of like, if I'm thinking of, since I wrote a graphic novel and I'm writing, my next thing is going to be, I work in the visual mediums, if you will, like comic books, screenplays, and there's a lot of really interesting kind of shots in It Follows, and I really, really kind of appreciate those as a visual storyteller. And it's a really interesting kind of something we haven't seen in a long, the premise is really interesting and new, unique, and I appreciate that.
Interesting. Well, I got a couple titles I could throw at you to see if you've ever heard of it. per se. So I'm just gonna pick your brain now, since I haven't. I just looked up Raw. Cannot say I have seen it, so I'm gonna try looking to see if I can find it for sure. So my question is: have you ever heard of the French version of Martyrs? And have you
I have
ever?
not.
No. Oh boy. Anyway, moving on then. And I'm moving on as in saying like, oh boy, like I'm not complaining about that movie. And Tessa can vouch for me that that movie will mess somebody up in a way of uh of something is what I'm gonna say. Like I remember when I first heard about the French version of Martyrs, and it was in the Fangoria magazine. And then when I saw the movie in Walmart for like $10, I had to pick it up. I went home, started watching it in the living room. I actually had to tell my own mother to please shut up so I could watch the movie, because that's how much attention grabber this movie did. Because as soon as
Wow.
because as soon as it starts, man, it will grab you within the first 10 minutes, and it won't let go until the very end.
Wow. Well, I'll have to check it out. I did not know there was a French version of
Yep.
Martyrs.
Yeah, you don't want that piece of shit Martyrs of the U.S. version. No. You want the original. And then, so the next question is, I haven't seen the U.S. remake of it, or reboot, whatever you want to call it. Remake, I think it would be the correct term. But everybody knows the U.S. version called Let Me In. But how many people I want to know knows about the original? And I think it's, oh God, I think it's French. It's either French or German. I can't quite remember anymore, but it's been a while since I've seen it, even though I own it. So, which sucks, because it's just like, I should know this. Anyway, the original is called Let the Right One In.
Yes, I have not seen the original. That's the vampire one, right?
Correct.
With the girl down the street.
Correct.
Yeah, I believe it's German, and I have not seen the original version.
Yeah. I haven't seen the US version because I didn't really want to, because I really love the original. Because once I saw that they switched the roles, I was like, I don't know how I like that.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I heard the original is really good. I just haven't seen it yet.
It's definitely worth your time, for sure. Now, I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna put that one on my list too.
All right. Well, I can give you a lot of freaking horror movies if you haven't heard of. Like another German. Yes, these are actually two German movies. And then the second one that came out for one of the titles that I'm about to say, it's kind of interesting that it took, if my memory serves me correctly, it took like 5 years for the second one to come out. But when the second one came out, it was like everybody was speaking English and not German. So it was really weird, because it continued right from the end of the first movie. So I don't know why they chose to do that, but they did, because even the main protagonist, who, it's not really too much of a spoiler since I said it continued from the ending of the first one, but the main protagonist, who was speaking German and now speaking English, so it's just like, what the heck? Like, how does that work? But anyway,
Right.
so the first title I'm gonna say is Cold Prey. There's supposed to be
Never
three.
heard.
No. Oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good one. There's supposed to be three of them. Unfortunately, U.S. only has the the first two available. So there's Cold Prey and then there's Cold Prey 2, which I would definitely recommend. I just don't know how to find Cold Prey 3 if we will even have a chance to look at that one. And then finally, the last one that I can offer right now, if you have not heard of it, it's usually on Netflix. Don't know if both of them are, but it's Dead Snow. It's that like Nazi zombie comedy horror like Shaun of the Dead, but it's like really more interesting. It's like Nazi zombies in the snow, basically.
Nice, Nazi zombies in the snow. Can't go wrong with that.
No, not at all.
I'll have to check those out. Yeah, I've not heard of them.
Oh boy, well then maybe what I should just do is if I can find my old list of horror films or the new list that Tessa and I made, I'll just send you on and you can just print it all out and like check off which ones you've seen.
Yeah, send me the list. I'll be happy to. I'm always looking for new stuff to watch for sure.
Awesome. And if you can think of any new one too, like that Raw and stuff, send them over our way and we'll check out the one that you suggest too. For sure.
For sure. Yeah. Raw's a good one. I'd be interested to see what you think about it. It's different.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out because after looking it up with images and stuff, it's interesting already. Because yeah, it seems like there's something going on. So I just don't know what as you're saying. So
yeah, I don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, Andrew, I know you probably didn't say 10, which is fine because it sounds like your brain were trying to go through movies of trying to figure out which ones you really like, but we'll just forgive you on that. We'll just say the top 5 for you were good, or 3.
I appreciate it. Yeah, whatever number I got.
Yeah, exactly. It's still good enough. But so I guess to wrap things up here, because I really do not know what else I can talk about at the moment with you, unless you feel like there's something I completely missed to bring up. But if there is anything that you feel like we should know, or how can we keep up to date with you? I know you kind of said you have a newsletter, but if there's any type of social media for Man of Sin or you that people can reach out and follow for updates or whatever, plug them. And until I guess next time, Andrew, it was a pleasure to have you on, and you can come back on anytime you want. We'll just make sure we have that blood contract all set too.
Well, first off, I really appreciate it, Paul. It's been awesome chatting with you. If anyone wants to reach out to me, they can go on Facebook. You can look up Man of Sin Comic. That's kind of our fan page. Or you could reach out to me on Twitter. That's at Andrew Guilde, AndrewGuilde, or Instagram. That's at @Guilde. Or go to my website at aguilde.com. Usually on my website, I'm kind of posting mostly kind of writing stuff. I kind of do long form, kind of, how to do writing type stuff, kind of concepts on storytelling concepts, if you will. So yeah, that's kind of like the best ways to reach out to me. Feel free to say hi if you want a copy of the comic or anything like that. Just let me know. I'll be happy to send something your way.
Well, that sounds very nice. Yeah, I did notice that too. That it was a nice little writing blog, but I'm not gonna complain. It's always cool to see techniques from other people as it looked like what you were doing with your little blog. But I think a lot of people would appreciate it too. And if not,
Thank you. Yeah.
I guess they can get sacrificed to the blood of Satan for all I care. Moving on. Yeah. So about that contract. No, I'm joking, people. Well, that was Andrew. Andrew, once again, thank you for coming aboard. So just for like a final reminder again, just basically get a hold of you, send some blood your way, and you will gladly send them a digital copy or a print copy. So awesome. There you go. And then you will forever be in tune to Andrew Dryden, people. So just think of that. All right. To wrap things up, so just go support Andrew, and Andrew will hopefully fill me in on when like Comixology goes up, and I'll update the review with links. And maybe if anybody has any other suggestions for Andrew to help him out with Man of Sin to get more coverage of media-wise, and where maybe he could put Man of Sin on to help get it that big push out there, because I would highly recommend Man of Sin so much right now that it's a really good story. You do not want to miss out on this, and you would not be disappointed, even if you were to read it 5 million times in a week, which is definitely impossible. But if you just kept reading after you got done the first time around and just kept going and going and going, I think you'd eventually have to, well, I guess, cut your fingers off or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for now. And once again, Andrew, thank you for your time and support and everything else, because, yeah, I'm just going to ramble now because it seems like. So once again, thank you. And we'll have you going. Yep.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And anytime you want to chat horror, I'll be happy to come on.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, we're always looking for people to talk horror with, so it would all be great. Even if it's not about your stuff, but if it's about something else, yeah, you're more than welcome to. If you even have something that you are dying to talk about, Andrew, let us know, and we will make it happen.
Awesome. Well, Paul, I thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for all the kind words. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. We're small people, and we need to help each other out, right? Exactly.
For sure.
All right. Well, Andrew, once again, thank you so much for your time. Everybody, check out Man of Sin. Otherwise, I'm going to come to your doorstep, and you're going to be sacrificed to the blood of Satan. And then I'm going to use your blood to be in the next dark anthology comic of Andrew. We're going to ship the blood to an artist, and then the artwork will be made in the blood of the victim that did not compute with this situation of the process. Yes. So before I ramble on anymore, thank you everybody for listening. Check out Man of Sin. All links are down below, provided for Andrew and his work and his social media. So check it out. And until next time, everybody, oh God, just check it out. And as always, make sure to stay the hell scary. Goodbye, everybody.